Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. Today, we are going to touch up on a topic that is going to come up every spring, which is spring cleaning. Spring cleaning isn't always about cleaning your house, although it's a very good tradition and it's an amazing ritual. By basically going through our home, by cleaning and by decluttering, we are sending a clear message to the universe that we are ready for the new and we're done with the old. So now let's talk about what this decluttering and spring cleaning represent. So we have usually a lot of issues, a lot of emotional stuff that we store in our bodies. And as a result, we see that people who don't deal with their issues almost always become hoarders. And when we watch these programs on TV, we always wonder, how does one get to that point where they actually are living in the middle of filth and with the stacks of boxes going up all the way to the ceiling, and there's just basically no place for them even to live. Of course, nobody arrives at that overnight. It is a very complex issue, and if we don't declutter, if we don't clean up our acts and our lives, then as the time goes by, layers and layers of these issues pile up, and then it'll become almost too scary to touch it, because then it seems like the biggest pile of crap that we have to deal with. So just like anything else, we have to take it one little bit at a time. We have all moved from time to time, so if we want to get overwhelmed over how much packing we have to do, then we're never going to do anything. So we usually start with one closet at a time, or one drawer at a time, or one room at a time, and we reward ourselves with these small little projects that when combined, then it will be one hell of a move. But if we want to do one little bit in here and one little bit there with no real destination and goal, then we're not going to be very productive, and then we're just going to get overwhelmed and overall give up. So I have a ritual that I like to share with everyone because it has always worked for me, and it is a ritual that involves my phone book. When I had social media, it involved my friends list and my emails. So once a year, I go through my address book, and I just delete a lot of the names, numbers, emails, and contacts that I am no longer in touch with. As a hairstylist, we keep piling on numbers and names over the years, and as we grow and they grow, we outgrow each other, and they exit our lives and we exit their lives. And by holding on to those numbers, those contacts, those friends on Facebook or Instagram, then we're just holding on to the old energy from the past, which then does not create new room for the new people, for the new energy to come into our lives. And I always go through this feeling of almost lightening up, like energy becomes lighter. And as I'm deleting these people, I sometimes wonder and ponder on our friendship or the time that we've had together. And in my head, or in my heart, I just say a little goodbye. And then I try to focus on how that feels, because sometimes it feels sad. It feels uncomfortable. And but nonetheless, it has to be done. So I just, send them a goodbye, and then I delete it. And it's interesting because at times when you delete people who are no longer in your lives, they sort of just like message you out of nowhere. And that's just a reminder of how this entire world is nothing but energy. Because by sometimes saying goodbye to someone, or releasing your hold on their energy, they get a word of it, they feel it, and then all of a sudden you pop into their head. Because we're all connected, and even when we don't like someone and we think about them, we're still sending them energy. Just like how when we love someone and we think about them and we send them energy. Energy just has a way to travel, and it doesn't know the difference between whether we like someone or dislike someone. So yeah, they message you and you have the option of messaging back, or sometimes, the universe is telling you, no, they're not done, or you're not done with them. So maybe then you start a new chapter. And um and and at times you don't hear about anyone that you delete, which is totally fine. But I'm a firm believer in not cluttering our lives with anything. And for those of us who have to wake up every day and say happy birthday to a million people that we don't even see or even know, just because the algorithm of our social media recommends their birthdays, I don't really see a point in that. I'm not a big fan of obligatory anything. I think everything that we do should come from our heart. And if we're not feeling it, then we're not being genuine. And if we're not being genuine, it obviously is never going to be received as the way that heartfelt wishes are received. So, um, again, I'm a big fan of quality and not quantity. We can have a million friends, and the quality of a friendship could be totally lukewarm, or we can have like one or two friends, and the quality of that friendship is like amazing and very rich. And I also do that with my memories. I sometimes go through my memories, and I try to release the ones that are no longer benefiting me. And we can do it either by ourselves, we can write them in a journal, we can say it out loud, we can talk about it with our therapist, we can talk about it with our friends. And by verbally talking about it, but having the intention of this is the last time that we are going to refer to that memory, and have a ritual of just giving it away, turning it into energy. Imagine giving it to the black hole, one of the black holes of the universe. So it would just go and leave us alone. And you can burn a sage afterwards. You can take a long bath. Just an action that represents cleansing, because we all have those memories that we wish we never did have. And sometimes when they come up, they're trying to tell us something, but sometimes we're just ruminating and we're stuck, and then we just keep going back on one particular memory over and over again, and every time it makes us feel like crap. And there you go, we just set ourselves back that day, and then we're going to start our day with feeling of self-loathing and sorrow, and if we process it and then we say goodbye to it, then that's just another form of, let's call it, spring cleaning. Another thing that I have always done, which made me feel so good, excited about life, is just going through closets, because closets are where we store our clothes. Our clothes give us a sense of who we are. We have clothes that we wear when we're going to a funeral, and we have clothes that we wear when we go out dancing. We have clothes that we wear when we go to the gym. So every item of clothing that we have represents something about our lives. And sometimes people are struggling with their weight and they're holding on to their clothes from the past when they used to be skinny. And again, I'm not a big fan of that because we're living in the past. We should have a rule that if we haven't worn something in a year or 2 or 3, then we should just say goodbye to it because it means that it's not serving a purpose in our lives. And I know a lot of people pay a lot of money for their clothes and they have a hard time saying goodbye to it. But by those items sitting in your closet, you're not getting any richer, and it's just taking up space. It reminds you of the past, and for whatever reasons you're not wearing them anymore. Maybe they don't suit your lifestyle, maybe they don't suit your body, maybe you're just not in that headspace. We go through phases where we're very glam, and then we go through phases where we're very sporty, and then we go through phases where we're just very like hippie, and our moods change and we change as individuals. So holding on to clothing that, let's say, we wore 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and looking at it and wishing that we would slip into it one day again is futile. It's not really serving anyone, and by uh, giving it away to people who can use it, you are actually doing something nice. It's an act of charity, but also it's an act of charity towards yourself, because you are telling yourself that I am good enough, I deserve to be happy, and my goals are important to me, but I am building something for the future and now, and I'm not living in the past. So when you reach the goal that you have in terms of having a certain kind of body, then you go out and then you buy something that's current, that represents the new you. Because even if your body turns into what you had like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, maybe on surface it looks the same, but it's really not. It's just a different body. Our body is changing all the time. Our cells are renewing itself, and we're just growing. Our facial structure changes as we get older. Our noses get wider, our ears get bigger. The skin texture changes, the width of our body, the bones usually get wider, the muscle structure changes, where your, pecs were 10 years ago is definitely not where it is today, because, we also deal with gravity, and we can work out and we can, keep ourselves in shape, but we're never going to look like the way we did when we were 20. If we're in our 30s, we're never going to look like the way we were um, when we were younger, if we're a little older now, and that's okay. We just have to accept it. We have to dress ourselves accordingly, and that is very empowering. And also, by keeping an eye on our closets, we can get an inventory of how we feel mentally. Because sometimes when our closets are messy, it means that our minds are messy. It means that we haven't been doing self-care. We haven't been analyzing and processing our emotions. And when we're going through those days when we are going through our house and our storage rooms and our closets, as we're folding and organizing and giving things away, we also reminisce, and it's actually quite meditative, because then we have a chance to just be alone on our own by ourselves and go through these items that reminds of us of so many things. And so I highly recommend that as well. I had a habit of just going to friends' homes and opening their closets and organizing things for them, which now now that I'm older, I realize that it was kind of rude. In my household, my siblings and my mom would actually close their closet doors, because whenever they were out of town, or I would just go and organize, and I would get rid of the stuff that they weren't wearing, or the stuff that looked worn and old. And because I couldn't articulate to them why I'm doing this, but I was doing it as a favor, because I knew how important it is to basically always keep yourself up to date mentally, emotionally, physically, and also, yes, when it comes to your clothes and your belongings. And it also helps you find things better. It also helps you just spend less time trying to find out where things are. It helps you not lose anything, because usually people who are very unorganized, they're always losing something. it reminds you to be present. It reminds you to have concentration and focus. And if you lack those qualities, then you find a way to be conscious. And Another way to do spring cleaning is just literally cleaning the corners that haven't been touched in months, and by just looking around and seeing sparkly windows and sparkly decorative items and bright and shiny surfaces, you just feel good. The smell of air in your house feels fresh, like our lives is nothing but just feelings, and anything that we can do to change our feelings for better is going to contribute to the richness of our lives and to the quality of our lives. So that's why people burn candles, because those smells, they all trigger different feelings. Some makes you feel passionate, some makes you feel calm, and some makes you feel nostalgic. And depending on the memories that you have in your memory bank of your feelings and of your past, everything that our senses receive are interpreted in our brain and therefore turn into thoughts and feelings. And it's so important for us to have an intention of, as nature renews itself, even if on surface it seems like, the grass is becoming green like it was last year, but it's never the same as last year. It's always new. It's always one of a kind, and it's never going to be repeated again. So we should do that with our body. We should do that with our soul. We should do that with our memories and our emotions and our belongings. And by also donating the stuff that we no longer need or use or outgrew, we're making other people happy. And we have to remind ourselves a lot of people don't have a lot. And by us giving the excess and the things that we no longer have use for, we're actually helping others, and that by itself is very high energy and high vibrating. And this is it for today. It doesn't really seem like a very springy day today, but it is a beautiful day, and we don't really have that much time until the spring comes. So it's better to start cleaning, to start organizing, and to start processing some of the things that we have been putting on a back burner and haven't dealt with. So just like nature, we can start a fresh new start, a fresh new seasonal year, and a fresh new life. Thank you very much for